make money. Like, and if you're a doctor, you don't have to be internet famous. Like, I get it when people that are like broke college students, like, or people that don't have real jobs, like the Jenna Marbles phenomenon. You know, she was a bartender. She was a bartender slash go-go dancer when she started making millions of dollars on YouTube. I understand that. You know, I get that. That makes sense. But when you're an actual doctor of something and you decide to go on the internet to try and get notoriety when you could have a comfortable living doing, I don't know, things that a doctor does, that's a sad statement on your need for attention. So it seems as though this chick grew up with a mom who was in search of the spotlight in any way, shape, or form she could get it. And now I think that includes whoring her daughter out to the guy from Scarface. It's definitely creepy, certainly not okay. Yep, that's what I think about that. Do you have that audio of Joe Biden calling predatory lenders a Shylock? I probably should have given you a little bit more notice on this.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening to them at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men while overseas.
Yeah, so obviously the word Shylock, that's an extraordinarily non-complimentary expression for a Jew. If you're not familiar with the Shakespearean play Merchant of Venice, Shylock is the main antagonist in the story. He's a greedy moneylender, and he paints Jews in a very unflattering light. You know that expression, "get my pound of flesh"? That comes from Merchant of Venice, and Shylock basically wants to collect the debt. If you get a pound of flesh from someone, they die. And he was like, if you can't pay me back, I get a pound of flesh. And he's more than willing to end someone's life if he can't get money back. So, yeah, Shylock is not necessarily a nice term. Did Joe Biden mean it as a Jewish slur? I'm guessing no. Does it prove that he's an idiot that shouldn't be allowed to talk in public? Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty clear and defined in this particular case. But what was interesting about that whole thing is that if you kind of took the temperature of what was going on, especially on the right, with regard to this, it was a huge moment of like, we gotcha. It's trying to beat the left at their own game. See, like the left has an interesting sort of, the left can do some stuff that the right can't. The left is able to grab people from the right and recruit them to their cause in a way that the right really, it doesn't seem to be able to do. Like the left can reach over and grab folks like Colin Powell to get Obama's vote, a lifelong Republican who still defines himself as a Republican, but decided that, no, I don't like where the Republican Party's at, so I'm going to vote for Obama in this instance. And what does this lead to? This leads to extremist right factions, folks like the Tea Party breaking off, and Ann Coulter saying, I think, what did Ann Coulter say about the Tea Party? I think she said they need to be drowned or something like that. It was some sort of incendiary soundbite. But the bottom line is there's a lot of folks on the right, Tea Party folks, extreme right folks, that'll call folks like Colin Powell things like rhinos. You rhino, you Republican in name only. There's a lot of infighting, and the right kind of sort of can't get it together between the extreme right calling people Republicans in name only, and then folks like Ann Coulter saying, like, well, this part of the right, the Tea Party, they deserve to be drowned. Yeah, so this is the thing. They can't even get it together. Meanwhile, the left can reach over and grab people to their cause, because there's a lot of folks on the right who are, I guess what you would call, I don't know, call them Tea Party people, call them libertarians, call them modern Republicans, where they are maybe sort of, what's the old expression that gets trotted out an awful lot? Fiscally conservative, socially liberal. And there's some basic human rights stuff like gay marriage that gets people to go from right to left on a regular basis. The right doesn't really have that. The right doesn't really have the ability to. The right doesn't really have the ability to reach across party lines and grab people and recruit them to their cause for whatever reason. And I think it has to do a lot with social issues. I think it has to do a lot with social issues because there's a lot of people that are conservative that go, gay marriage doesn't need an exorcism. What the hell? Just stay the hell off my lawn and let people be what they're going to be. And maybe we shouldn't be spending so much on this, that, and the other. Now, those are people on the right that will vote left occasionally for social issues, for things that they just kind of can't stand behind. I know a lot of people have a crisis of conscience when it comes to being a Republican because, there's still a lot of Republicans out there who go like, well, being gay is a sin against God. And if you lend your tacit agreement to gay marriage, you're going to burn in hell with the rest of the gays. And there's a lot of people on the right that are sensible enough to go, well, that's obviously crap. I'm going to just hang out here in the middle, occasionally voting left every now and then. So, yeah, I think the left has an ability to, mostly through social issues, reach over to the right occasionally. I think Colin Powell said the reason he voted for Obama in the last election was because he had experienced racism in the Republican Party. Social issue brought a lifelong Republican over to the left. Now, the social issue thing allows the left to look at the right and go like, oh, that's politically incorrect. That's not okay. You said that about gays? You said that about minorities? Well, we can poke holes in you with this spear of political correctness, and we can win some folks over because of that. Here's the thing. The right doesn't do a ton to poke holes in what the left does. When someone dies, they go, "Well, that's libtard thinking that caused that. That's why. That's why there weren't armed guards in that school to shoot that shooter." Libtard thinking. Yeah. Does that win anyone over to your cause? No, it doesn't. Not so much. It firms your position and it allows you to play the gotcha thing that is sort of an exclusively leftist thing. And occasionally the right gets the opportunity to do that, but they don't do it very well, and they don't do it very successfully. And that's the same deal. What you had with Joe Biden in his incredibly, incredibly poor choice of words, that does, I think, cement this idea that he shouldn't be allowed to speak. What you had was him in a misguided way, because I don't think anybody actually thinks that he hates Jews for one tiny second. What you had was an incredibly poor choice of words that he used while saying, hey, it's a shame that American soldiers, members of our military, who are willing to lay their lives on the line, are getting foreclosed on when they're not able to do anything about it. It's just, I've been living in the desert for the last 12 days. Living in the desert for the last 12 days, living off of bugs and snakes and whatever else I can kill. I'm indulged in very deep guerrilla warfare, and I'm not able to respond to that issue of flood insurance that my mortgage hinges around, and they wind up getting their home foreclosed on, and that's not okay. And that is the point that, in his mealy-mouthed sort of way, Joe Biden was trying to make, and I think that's something we can all agree on. But folks on the right were so like, oh, he used a slur, he used an anti-Semitic slur. Let's take this one to the bank. We rarely get the opportunity to play the politically correct card in a situation. Let's go. Let's jump all over this. And just idiots so bent out of shape about this idea that, oh my God, we have one over on the left. Let's ride it. Let's ride it till the wheels fall off. And in the meantime, the thing that gets diluted, the thing that gets the focus taken away from it, the thing that is lost because people are too busy politically posturing, is the fact that they're soldiers willing to lay their lives on the line for freedom that are having their homes foreclosed on because, they're not in the most naturally tenable position for staying to date on their flood insurance. And that gets lost in this game of one-upmanship that the left and the right indulge in, and that's not okay. And if you are somebody that listens to my right-wing talk radio friends down the hall who will always drive a better car than me because, there's a they'll always live in a better home. They're always going to drive a better car than me, because there's an awful lot of non-opposable thumb-having, cross-burning, vestigial tail-wagging husbands and sister wives burning crosses on their lawn and hoarding AR-15s. If you're one of those people that listens to them and they got all bent out of shape about this, tell them to shuddy. And this is not the issue. The larger issue is that American soldiers are suffering. And we must, after having a quick laugh at the fact over that Joe Biden was stupid enough to use the term Shylock, do something about that.